Let's try and do that. See if that gives us some audio. Okay, yeah, so I think that's going to do it. Just want to say again, guys, welcome. Thank you for joining me for my first live stream in a rather long time. I wanted to come to you guys. The Bitcoin market, the crypto market rather, is down quite a bit. See if we can see how far we're down here. Derp. Yeah, so I was taking a look at this earlier. Bitcoin had kind of dropped to like 6,900 and some change, high 69, so maybe it was like 69.92 or something like that. And now we've kind of rebounded a little bit, and we've broken the 7,000s again, which is cool, I suppose. My gosh. XRP down to 22 cents. If you follow me on Twitter at CryptoGlenn, you had know that after the Swell Conference, really during the Swell Conference, I had made a point to mention that if there was no major news coming out of Swell, though, you could possibly see a sub 25 cent XRP. And here we are sitting at 22 cents for one XRP. Taking a look at this since then, I think if we continue on this downward wedge that we're currently trapped in, you could possibly see an 18 cent XRP. I think a lot of people are looking at, seeing a 20 cent XRP. I got to be honest with you. I know I haven't exactly been the most bullish guy when it comes to XRP, but XRP is vastly reaching areas where I would strongly consider being a buyer. I think at a certain price point, it only makes sense to buy it. It's not financial advice. You should always consult a professional when investing in highly volatile, highly speculative assets, as your principal is at risk. But personally, me just speaking for me, I think, I think this is definitely encroaching on the realm of only making sense to buy. I know a lot of people kind of wish that XRP would get down to $4 for a dollar range, and we've well crossed that point for some time now. I remember when XRP was at 33 cents and thinking, $3 for a dollar, that's not terrible. Of course, we had come off XRP being at about 41 cents or so, and for a lot of people, even $3 for a dollar was still a really good buy. But I know me personally, the more I can get for a dollar, the better. So like I said, I know I haven't exactly been the most bullish person when it comes to XRP, but I think when you're looking at a project that's crossed a certain threshold, once it gets down to a certain price, it only makes sense to buy. So shout out to whoever is or whatever factors are bringing the market down. If you've watched my channel before, we have absolutely strong hands here. We don't scare easily, and we welcome downward days in the market, because the only thing that means is we get to buy more of our favorite assets at a cheaper price. So whatever's bringing the market down, I want to say thank you for that. Let's take a look without any further ado. Let's take a look here. I don't know if I can get rid of this taskbar. Yeah, I don't think I can. Anyway, let's take a look here at some news that's come out a couple days ago. ICE is officially confirms a December launch for the cash settled Bitcoin futures. I think it's remarkable that December is going to be the 2-year anniversary for when a cash settled Bitcoin contract has been released. And for the second time, really the third time, I think this is going to have significant price action on the price of Bitcoin. Shazaker, hey, I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome to the stream. Says, are you talking to yourself? No, man, you're in the stream, so I'm actually talking to you and everyone else that's going to be watching here whenever they decide to fall in here. But if you guys remember back to 2017 when CME originally launched what would have been the original Bitcoin futures contract, that was, of course, cash settled. Bitcoin at that point in time was about $19,000, I believe. Let's see here. Oh, that's not the right one. This is the one we want to look at right here. Okay. Yeah, so this was written December 17th, 2017. And this is when CME actually put on mention that they were getting ready to release their first Bitcoin futures contracts. And again, at that point in time, I'm sorry, Bitcoin had opened at $20,650. And right when it closed that day, dipping, about a 2% loss on the day, closing at 19.1, this began the descent of the price of Bitcoin going to where it is today. Needless to say, every time one of these derivatives products comes online, the price of Bitcoin goes down significantly. I'd have to go back and check, but when I believe Bakkt had launched the Bitcoin settle contracts, I think that had somewhat of a positive, don't quote me on this, but I believe this had somewhat of a positive effect on the price of Bitcoin. But again, I mean, at that point in time, we were already sitting at what, 8,000, 9,000? Like, how much lower could you have taken it? And I think from there we went up to about 13,000 before slowly making another descent down to 10,000 and 9,000, and kind of where we're at now, being at about, where are we at here? $7,074, $7,083. Okay. So every time one of these derivative projects or products is launched, it always has significant impact on the price of Bitcoin. And most times, often than not, that price action has been negative. So I've been thinking to myself, okay, we know this is coming. We've seen it happen twice before. It's going to be released on December 9th. What is going to be the best possible strategy to play which way the market will go? Well, I have a theory. I think if the market is still down somewhat, I think for a change, this might be somewhat of a catalyst. Again, going back to when I believe it was Bakkt, again, don't quote me on this, but I believe it was Bakkt when they released their Bitcoin futures contract that was actually settled in Bitcoins. We saw a little bit of an uptick in price. So I think if the market is still down come December 9th, when this is actually released, this could have positive price action on Bitcoin. However, I think if we start to see a little bit of a rebound here, let's say we creep up to about maybe $10,000, $11,000, and I think that's a little bit of a stretch right now. I mean, December 9th is probably, 2 weeks away? I mean, I guess it's not too much of a stretch, but it's highly improbable that happens. But if it does, I think that we could actually see negative price action happen, and you can see Bitcoin slide to the downside again. So I want to take a look here at the chart, and maybe we can get an understanding of where we're sitting at right now. And again, guys, I'm not one of these people that, claims to be right all the time, but I have put together somewhat of a track record of being right on a couple of occasions. This is not TradingView. Give me USD. Let's take a look at this. Give me a full feature chart. Yeah, I don't like these lights. Can I make this dark? Where's my settings panel at? I'm looking like a total noob right now. This is not normally what I use. I normally use Chrome, and on Chrome everything is all set up, but Chrome happens to be a very memory intensive piece of software. This isn't it. Can we move this? Move that down there. I can't see what I'm doing. Give me just a second here, guys. I know this isn't great stream etiquette, but I really want to go into the dark mode. I don't think there's anyone in the chat right now that can show me how to do that. Oh, no, don't do that. It should normally be in settings, right? Wow, this is terrible. Maybe I should just pull it up on Chrome. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Give me a second, guys. I mean, if you even take a look in, just what we've done over the past handful of hours, actually go back to the 19th, we've actually dipped well below my Fibonacci retracement that was actually just put in like a day or two prior to that. So for us to actually be this low past a lot of points in Fibonacci with XRP anyway, Bitcoin, I'm sure we're encompassing on the same thing. Yep, so we're actually sitting quite lower. Like I said, it's going to be hard. You'd be hard pressed to actually have Bitcoin see some kind of meteoric rise in terms of a few $1,000s price appreciation by December 9th. So personally, I think we'll probably sit in this channel for a little while longer. And potentially you could see on December 9th with the release of the cash settled Bitcoin contracts, push us up in price. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Like I said, the last few times we've seen it, it's actually had negative price action. So I wouldn't be surprised if this time it kind of threw the market a curveball with everyone kind of being a little bit of a lull, a funk, a depression, whatever you want to call it, and it actually boosts the price of Bitcoin right now. So I don't know. Like, what are you guys thinking? What do you want to talk about here? What's on your guys' mind? I know in a couple other videos I was talking about XRP, the XRP community, and their obsession with Jumantra. Jumantra isn't something that I put a whole lot of stock in. I know it's got something to do with basically like secret messages being encoded via alphanumerical placements and setting based on the words that you're using in a speech. And a lot of people who are in the XRP community think that Christine Lagarde and Donald Trump is speaking to them and other elite members of the financial society in terms of giving them clues as to when XRP may see price appreciation. I know a lot of people are thinking that it may happen on December, maybe it was December 9th. I think I heard somewhere, coincidentally enough. Again, I don't really put too much stock in it at all. I think it's all quite a bit of rubbish. And on a couple other videos, I had said that people in the XRP community were starting to get weird again. Almost like, I don't know, like when Bearable Guy was out and when that was a thing, people were thinking that, that Bearable Guy was giving them secret clues or whatever the case is. And I never thought that was the case. I never thought there was some secret cartoon bear that just happened to be an insider, or the Ripple Riddler who just happened to be an insider was giving people clues like 589 and November the 5th, and all these things had come to pass, and nothing had ever happened. It made a lot of people who had kind of put a lot of faith into that. I know, like Sam I Am to the lifeboats, digital asset investor. These people were reporting things that this individual had allegedly given them, and nothing that had come to pass. So I mean, I think it made a lot of people lose faith in what these guys were saying and what they were reporting on, which is probably why my channel has seen somewhat of a spike in interest, just because I try to be very objective in the information that I'm bringing. I know live stream's a little bit different, but it takes a little while to kind of get these things set up to talk about what you want to talk about. So in that regard, it's a little different. It's never really easy, especially with it being the first live stream that I've done in a long time. A lot of my other videos are static. So I think we've got the hang of it down now. So, we can definitely be a bit more prepared for the next stream. Yeah, so going back to that Dramantra is something that a lot of people, like I was saying, in XRP think these people who are in the public eye are giving them secret messages, secret clues via alphanumeric place setting in the words that they're using in the speeches that they give on a day in and day out basis. And a lot of people think that this Jumantra is saying that December is going to represent significant price action for XRP. Personally, I don't put much faith in that. I don't think that XRP is going to go on to do half of what the community thinks it's going to do. I don't think there's some secret Illuminati group behind the scenes pulling the levers and making things happen. I think that kind of behavior, that kind of thought process has shown to be highly unreliable before in the past. I mean, again, if you go back to Bearable Guy and the Ripple Riddler, November the 5th, and all these other crazy dates, that every time someone tries to call something, like right now the Jumantra is saying that I believe it's going to happen like on December 9th, But every time there has been some kind of date call out, it has never come to pass. Like, ever. Ever, ever, ever. I think if we do see some kind of price action come December 9th, again, it could be because if Bitcoin, if the cash settled contracts that are coming out on December 9th are highly successful, then yes, the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. And if the price of Bitcoin goes up, then it's likely to bring a number of coins with it, that are currently in the market. Now, I will say this, excuse me, I don't think we're going to be in the same market that we were in 2017, meaning that Bitcoin goes up and the price of everything skyrockets. I think if you look now, a lot of the projects that you see now are not going to be around in 2 years. I remember when I was first in the space, I remember taking a look at what projects were available, and one that definitely catches my attention or makes me remember was a project called Fedora Coin. Now, this coin was kind of like Dogecoin, except it was like, collect all, I don't know, like the different types of Fedora coins. Needless to say, they're not around anymore. And I don't think projects like AAA, BBBC coin are going to be around for a long time either. So I think when you are putting money into these things, you need to be really looking at the use case. I think you should really be looking at the fundamentals, the technicals, as well as a little bit of, I don't know, could you call it PA, psychological analysis? Meaning that what's the psyche of the other people who are going to be investing in. Like, personally, I use a little bit of psychoanalysis in my investing for XRP. I have a hard cap that I'll allow myself to invest in. So that way, if it goes to zero, like, I'm not devastated, I'm not destroyed. But at the same time, when it's all said and done, hopefully it'll be enough that if I'm wrong, and I don't see this happening, but if I am wrong and XRP moons, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I made a nice little play on that. But I'm not, just buying in crazy amounts like, some of your favorite YouTubers are. Now, I will say this, if XRP goes to 18 cents, like I think it may, in fact, get to 18 cents, it's, I think that's when my discipline as an investor is going to be challenged, because then I'll get to dollar cost average significantly. But I think the hard part will come in terms of forcing myself to remain disciplined and not wanting to throw everything in the kitchen sink and sell all the belongings that I have just to get into XRP. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. Like I said, I personally don't think XRP, and again, going back to some members in the XRP community, I just want to know, where do they get their information from? Like, I was watching one guy, Venture XRP, and he said the XRP could potentially be tied to gold, and that would force them to revalue gold, and the price of gold could be revalued at $7,000 an ounce. And I'm like, how? And if you follow me on Twitter at CryptoGlenn, you know, like, these are things that I've always questioned. If the price of XRP is $7,000, doesn't that make it more expensive for banks to use? Don't banks want to keep these things significantly as cheap as they possibly can? You know, that's just, that would be the question I would have. Now, again, if I'm wrong about all this, and everybody's going to be driving around in Lambos, like, that's cool. I just don't think that's going to be the case, because when financial systems are getting ready to change, or when huge debilitating crashes are getting ready to come to the market, these aren't things that are generally known by the public. They're only known by a very small few, and that small few, what they like to do is they like to set their bets at the expense of a lot of people. I don't really see that changing with cryptocurrency. With cryptocurrency, if anything, I think it would be more so that the rewards could be higher for the few that were definitely privy to the information. Litecoin. You want to take a look at Litecoin? Litecoin is, oh my God, I should have sold it at 60. Oh. Like I said, guys, I don't always get this right. The purpose of my channel is just to try and bring objective, factual information to the videos that I post. I wanted to do this live stream because I just want to communicate and connect with you guys. I don't know why this is in gaming. This shouldn't be in gaming. This should actually be in education. We'll fix that later. Yeah, but Litecoin has just really been shit in the bed as of like the last year and a half. There really hasn't been any, major development. Sorry, I know they're talking about Mimbo coming on at the end of next year, but that, that's a lot like Ethereum. Ethereum hasn't really had any major progress. I know they're probably getting ready to, I should have sold this when it was at 200. I know they were actually getting ready to come online with Constantinople at is it the end of December? I think it is the end of December, but I know it's been postponed like 2 or 3 times. Excuse me. And I know for the folks in the Ethereum community, like, if you've had Ethereum since its inception, you've got to be, getting a little fatigued in terms of saying, okay, what are we doing? Are we finally going to get the upgrades, the updates that we've been looking for? Are we not? I mean, right now it's in a very, very, very strong negative wedge right now. It's got a lot of downside pressure. At the moment, you're getting some upside, but I don't, you really don't have the volume to kind of keep on the positive, the positive price action that you're seeing here. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of wicking, at least in these last 2 4-hour candles. And we know for each time, and it looks like that's happened at the exact same, relatively the same price range. And the more times you run up against resistance and the more time you don't break through that resistance, you're liable to break down to the downside. So I'd have to look back. I mean, if you cannot get through back up to 150, I don't know if there's anything keeping you from free falling to 120, maybe even the low teens. When was the last time we saw some of that? So like down here, that's 140. That's where we are now. This is like back in what, April, May? Or a lot farther than that. Yeah, so I mean, we could potentially retrace back to levels we haven't been in since March of earlier this year. Let me stretch this out a little bit. I mean, look at that volume. That volume is practically nothing. Got to get back above 150, man. You have to get back above 150 if you are in fact a Ethereum holder. ADA was on my radar for a little bit, and just because the project itself hadn't had significant gains. I mean, I was taking a look at the commits on GitHub, and I didn't see the level of commits on GitHub increasing substantially for as much as I would like to see. So I got out of my ADA at about 5 cents. And so far, it's turning out to be a pretty smart play as we're down to about 3.5. Now, I will say this: if you like ADA, 3.5 cents right now, this is, you'd be able to get ADA for a Glock and a ski mask. And I know a lot of people have high hopes for this, just on the approach that ADA wants to take with interoperability with other blockchains and all that jazz. That's fine, but I got to be honest, I'm not 100% sold on ADA. And I know I'm going to sound like a Bitcoin maximalist, but that's not, that's not what I intend to be. But I understand that a lot of these altcoins came after Bitcoin as a cash grab to try and collect more Bitcoin for the developers. I mean, go back to all the ICOs back in 2017. It was all a cash grab, So in a lot of respects, I kind of see through a lot of these projects. I don't necessarily, I won't say that ADA doesn't have any mainstream value, but I don't know. My heart isn't in it. Not my emotions, but just like my heart. My gut feeling is that's not the move. I think ADA could potentially go down to 2.5 cents if Bitcoin continues to slide. And going back to my previous point, that once a project gets below to a what's the word I'm looking for? A low enough price range, if it's a project that has a certain level of ability, shall we say, then yeah, it does make sense. You should only buy it. Again, that's what I would do. I'm not saying the same that I would do that for AAA BBBC coin, because personally I think that's predominantly an S coin. I definitely wouldn't do that with Tron, just because I cannot stand Tron with every fiber of my being. I've got no faith in it. I don't like what they stand for. I don't like that a lot of people can jump on to Tron, pose as a developer, and use names of products that exist in legacy marketplaces today to try and scam people. And Justin Sun and the Tron Foundation does nothing about it. So to know that, that's not something I would really want to be a part of and or give my money to. So I short Tron every chance that I get. I'm here overseas in Japan, and I'm in a location where we can do that, but I short Tron every chance I get. When they said they had that partnership with that huge conglomerate business, I shorted Tron because I knew it was going to be all hype. And if you paid attention to that news, the SDK, anyone can apply to be a partner on that. That's not some exclusive deal that Tron hammered out with Samsung. Anyone can apply, and if you've got the technical know-how, you can apply and you can get approved, and you can start developing apps to be displayed on Samsung or any one of those blockchains that are currently listed on there. Basic attention token. I like this early on. I like basic attention token early on. I liked Ravencoin early on. Ravencoin, to me, for as much buzz that they had around them, they didn't really do anything with it. There was no marketing that came out with Ravencoin. They were just kind of like, hey, we're like a distant cousin of Bitcoin, and we can securitize or digitize securities on our blockchain. And that's it. You don't really hear anything from them now. I mean, think about it. Ravencoin and Polymath. Polymath is one that I'm very heartbroken about. Polymath was supposed to be basically like the ERC20, but they were going to be the ST20 token for all securities, STO, security token offerings. And it's like they just shit the bed. They had a really good idea. They had a really cool niche carved out for themselves in the crypto space, and they didn't do anything with it. My guess is a lot of people figured, hey, we can do the same thing with Ethereum on the ERC20 token, so we don't really, have to migrate over to a ST20 token. I also don't think they did a whole lot of marketing And I think if that was the case for Polymath, because Polymath, I think, was going to be the more well known out of the security token issuance. And Ravencoin basically had no marketing. It was just kind of like if you were on a Telegram or if you were on Reddit or if you were paying very close attention to the project, then you were kind of getting that information. The volume's low. Let me see if I can turn that up for you. Let me know if that's better. Pins. But a lot of people on the Telegram for Ravencoin, I mean, it's almost like they even stopped communicating. So, yeah, as an investor, once these people stop communicating with you, it's kind of like, all right, if you guys aren't going to try and keep up and stay focused and engaged, why should your investors be focused and be engaged, right? Because these are the people who are basically feeding your investment. Okay, so when that's the case, it's kind of like, all right, I saw Ravencoin was starting to slide down, so I said, hey, I'm still in a position where I can get out with principal, so I'm going to do that. Do I think XRP is a security? I don't think XRP is a security, and I'll tell you why. I think if XRP was a security for as long as it's been around, they probably would have had some. They probably would have had. Hang on here for a second. They probably would have had more ramifications, more consequences to be paid. And because they haven't, I don't think that they are. Now, it has been said that the feds, they only move against you once that case has actually been made. So could they still potentially be building a case? Yeah. Is that highly probable? Probably not. Probably not. Where do you think XRP is going to... What do I think XRP is going to be able to achieve? When I look at what coins are doing, I mean, look at this. We are so below my Fibonacci plot point. Jesus Christ. Saw that was going to come all the way back here. And I saw another dip was going to come right back there. We just kind of came out of it. And I said, we're not going to trade this here. And then this candle came and I'm like seeing some things that show bearish divergence. And I said, okay, plot that. And then we definitely went down. What was I saying? When I'm looking at a lot of these projects, I'm basically going off of what the developers, what the people who are using it are saying, right? Because here's the deal. We live this is a brand new asset class. Again, they got no volume. This is why this wicking's happening. Again, if they cannot get beyond 23 cents, you've got one, boom, it ran up, came back down, boom, ran up, came back down. That's why I think this is probably going to 18 cents, guys. But if you don't have people who are reporting on things objectively, it's very easy to get caught up in the sensationalism of things. And then people, oh my God, did you hear this news? Did you hear that news? And a lot of times that news isn't even factual. It's not even correct. So people take that as hearsay and they just, boom, automatically invest. I try to stick solely based on what the people who are developing or what the people who are using it are saying. And right now we know Ripple, the thing that they're trying to tackle is cross-border remittance payments. That's it. So that's where the buck stops for me. Like, I'm not looking at this saying, oh, you know what? They're going to be a global reserve currency. They're going to have special, drawing rights for the SDR. That if you listen to some YouTubers, that's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say. And we're like, no, let's try and keep it objective. When Walmart came out with the announcement that they were going to carry on the partnership with MoneyGram, people automatically assume, oh my God, Walmart's getting the cross-border, payments. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. I've been all over the globe. And in most places where there's a Walmart, I have seen some kind of money movement, money payment center of some kind. And what that tells me is Walmart has areas, they basically have a footprint inside their stores that they basically lease out to MoneyGram. MoneyGram said, hey, we want to operate inside your stores. Can we do so? Walmart basically just said yes. And it's like a lease agreement. It gets renewed every so often. So that's the news that came out of the Walmart MoneyGram deal. They're just electing to extend that lease arrangement until 2021. That's it. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of misinformation that gets presented in this space. There's a lot of information that is sensationalized just for the fact to sensationalize it, just to get people hype and excited. And I'm like, the people who watch my channels, I want them to get hype and excited off of objective news. Because if you get hype and excited off of objective news, there is a strong probability your investment is going to grow. I mean, the only thing I can really turn back to is, again, last year when XRP owners thought they were going to have $589 per coin at the end of the year. And then January, December 31st came, 2017, and we rolled in over to January 1, 2018. Or I'm sorry, December 31st, 2018, and we rolled over to January 1, 2019, and nothing happened. Then everybody was putting out those V for Vendetta videos. Remember, the 5th of November. November 5th came and went, nothing happened. Now folks in the XRP community are highly waiting for December. I think the guy, I can't remember his name, Steve Vlog, something like that. I think if you go back and check on one of his video, Wind Moon. I wish I could answer that, man. I can't. I think I don't know if that price action is going to happen in December. I will tell you this. Here's the deal. No one who holds XRP is using XRP. We're all just holding it because we're looking at it like, oh, please go up. So when you look at like the Alex Cobb channel, he's like, oh, new information today. New information. And it's like articles that are 2 and 3 weeks old. It's like, that's not new information. So you have to constantly keep trying to stir the embers to get people excited. I will say this: if people really want the bull market to return, just stop selling. Just stop selling. Because if you buy, that price has to go up. I don't know who's selling right now. Like, I look at this XRP chart, I'm like, I mean, it could be McCaleb. See, again, okay, boom, we had a little bit of wick action. It went down, now it went up. Looks like we're testing that next level of resistance. It's going to try. I wouldn't be surprised if we got to about 22, 3, 21 cents in the next 48 hours. But if you really like XRP, like, you're not tripping about this. You're like, 22 cents, cool. I'm getting it for a Glock and a ski mask. It's on a fire sale. If you like Bitcoin, you're looking at Bitcoin like, oh my God, I can get a tenth of a Bitcoin for $700. I'll do that all day and twice on Sunday. And again, it's the same deal with Bitcoin. Ran up, couldn't really break it. You're not, came back down. You got a few more times to try and penetrate this level in this range right here. And if it doesn't, it's going down to the downside. I personally don't know who is selling, but I think whoever it is, like when I look at this, I see fear. When I look at, and I come on TradingView and, if I leave TradingView and I go over to, Live Coin Watch or Coin 360 and I see everything is in red, to me that says that's fear. And while everybody else is going to be fearful, I'm going to be greedy. And when everyone else is buying, and you take a look at the RSI here, and it's way hold up. I don't know if I can see that. Yeah, and it's like way up here. Okay, you know what? Then I might chill out. But when it's down here and it's like hanging out in this low territory, I'm like, nope, buy that. Buy all of that. And again, I'm not telling you what you should do. This is just what I would do. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so I think it's James D Vlogs or Alex D Vlogs or something like that. Basically what he was saying is this Gematria is telling people that XRP is going to move like December 9th or December 12th or whatever it is. coincidentally, I'm thinking about this now that, that's the same day that the Bitcoin cash settled futures contracts are going to be released. Excuse me. So if you weren't here in the beginning of the stream, I was saying if we're still in this low line area of like 7,000, 6,000, I think if those contracts get released, they could have somewhat of the opposite effect that the last futures contracts that were released, the effect that they had. They had negative buying pressure. I'm sorry, they had negative price action that affected the price of Bitcoin. I think this one potentially, if we're still in this low area, underneath 10,000, it could potentially have positive price action effect on the price of Bitcoin. But that's just that. So you don't think Trump wearing all gold in his videos is significant of gold being tied to XRP? I don't know. I don't want to alienate anyone, but I don't know where people get this from. I don't. I have no idea. I think it just happened to be either the guy woke up, he put on a tie, it just happened to be gold, and he had to, like, listen, when these people move into the White House, he could have had all kinds of picture frames. He might have had those gold picture frames in one of his other dwellings. I don't think it's of any significance at all. At all. I mean, I've never known a president to want to, spill the tea. I just haven't. Let's go ahead and take a look on the Twitterverse and see what's going on there. You guys can all feel free to follow me on Twitter at CryptoGlenn. There it is right there. Thank you to the brand new followers that we have here. Let's see if we can get a couple names here. Magish, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Couldn't do much of what I'm doing without you guys here on the live stream, sending in questions, or on Twitter, following me, or any of the subscribers on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys. I do. I couldn't do anything like this without you guys. Crypto Thug again. Thank you, Fangs. Thank you for the follow. I'll tell you what I want to look up. Let's look up XRP, man. Let's see what people are talking about XRP. That's a joke, right? BitLord01, touchdown in Vegas. We had to evacuate the plane. Unknown ransomware has locked the screen demanding payment in BTC or XRP. That's got to be a lie. That's got to be a lie. That's too far. I can't really read it. Oh, that can't be right, though. It'd be pretty cool if it was, though. XRP right now, while they are spreading FUD, I will continue to expose effect on the same proportions. Natural balance. To understand your present, we need to know our past. Okay, what is this? What is this? Oh, how the lending economy ruins stock investors. Yeah, well, stock market, that's a rich person's game. This tweet reminds me of something I had said. I said, listen, guys, if you're investing in XRP, understand this could potentially, and I wanted to make sure I gave myself a little leeway. I said this could potentially be a 10-year kind of deal, right? And what I'm saying is be prepared to hold XRP for 10 years. If you're not prepared to hold XRP for 10 years, maybe you should take a look at how much you're holding and adjust it accordingly. Because while XRP does, or while Ripple does have partners, understand that they're playing in a relatively small marketplace. Southeastern Asia, it's an emerging market, still kind of the wild, wild west for the space that XRP is trekking in. They don't really have the muscle, the weight to throw around like the Western world does. You know, even like here in Japan. Japan is not the same player as the States or even Europe is. Even Europe, given everything that, you know, Europe's going through right now. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm not expecting XRP to blow up, you know, in the next 5 minutes, and I think that's kind of what keeps my expectations in the right place. And I think when you are investing in XRP and there is so much hype and sensationalism around the coin, you have to manage your expectations. Spent my last dollar on XRP so I can afford this little Christmas tree. Deer season? No. Bearable guy. I hate that bearable thing. I do. I can't stand it. Here's an interesting tweet. Can't afford XRP. Quit drinking, smoking, cut down on eating out, stop buying lottery tickets. Our designer clothing's necessary. No, I've had the same clothes for like the last handful of years. But Roses on the Moon raises a very valid point. I think this could be said for any investment that you want to make. It could be traveling. It could be buying a new car. You know, you just got to watch your spending. You know? Someone says, good Lord, even on my slave wage, I buy 500 XRP units a week. You know? I will say this. I had someone approach me the other day, and they said this investing in cryptocurrency, if nothing else, has helped them save money. Because up until recently, the price of Bitcoin was, you know, relatively stable. The price of XRP had been relatively stable. I think they said they had invested in like Maker, and is it like DAI, or does Maker give off DAI? 88, I don't know. Anyway, what they had said was because the price of XRP or the price of crypto had been relatively stable, that it was almost acting as like a savings account for them, where, you know, that money wasn't in their pocket, it wasn't in their hand, it wasn't in their bank account, so they weren't thinking about it. It was off to the side in an account that they had forgot about it. Stay single, definitely stay single. Gosh, significant others will cost you money. Oh my gosh. That was a good tweet. I like that though. That was a very valid point. Good for her. That was a very valid point. Department of Treasury, in my opinion, Ripple is in great shape, and so is XRP. Screw the noise. Bright future for innovation. The United States is a global leader in technological innovation. The pace of technology development in the financial services has increased exponentially, offering the potential benefits to the U.S. economy. Treasury encourages all financial regulators to stay abreast of development changes in technology and to properly tailor regulations in a manner that does not constrain innovation. I agree with that. You shouldn't be trying to constrain innovation, because the more and more we have automation and economies of yesterday going by the wayside, we need to be welcoming new innovation to try and help us get a foothold in the new economy. So I agree with that. The regulators must be able to be more agile than the past in order to fulfill responsibilities with creating unnecessary barriers for innovation. Ensuring a bright future for financial innovation, regulators should be meaningful in steps to facilitate and enhance the nation's strength in technology, work toward the common goals of fostering a vibrant financial market and promoting growth through responsible innovation. Now I want to back out here because he says, oh crap, god dang it. Oh, I probably lost it. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so he says, this is department from the department. This is a note from the Department of Treasury. In my opinion, Ripple's in great shape. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put Ripple in that classification. I mean, it's not directly saying it. I mean, it could be pretty much anything that, you know, is in financial services, you know, so yeah, I guess you could put Ripple in that. It's kind of quiet though. I mean, there's not a whole lot of, let's go latest. There's not a whole lot of tweets talking about XRP right now. And normally when the market takes a little bit of a dip, you see that. You see that. Boy, I tell you what, I'd like to see this again. Oh gosh, I'm sure the entire crypto market would. Or you could just hodl. I mean, I think, yeah, personally, if you just want to load the boat up on this, and this is what you believe in, at 22 cents, it's hard. At 22 cents, it's taking a lot for me to not just throw a lot of what I have into it. Why don't you think XRP is going to do half of what you think? Why don't I think XRP is going to do half of what I think the XRP community is going to do? Again, going back to using psychoanalysis for my investment, I look at what other people are saying. Part of it, I mean, I look at the technicals, the fundamentals, price action, all that jazz. But I take a look at what the community is saying about this particular asset. And when I get a sense that people are a little over bullish, I've done things before in the past, like open up shorts that have paid me dividends, because you start to have what's known as groupthink start to settle in the mix. And when everyone is suffering from groupthink, no one's wearing the black hat and saying, guys, what's the likelihood that we might be wrong in this? Because they think they can't be wrong. Well, most times off, in fact, they are. Just with anything, not just like XRP and crypto, but with anything when groupthink settles in. So I look at that, and when people get a little bit too over bullish, oh yeah, it's going to be a reserve currency and it's going to be used by the central bank and it's going to have SDR purposes and blah, 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 and it's going to get tied to gold. I'm like, when things come to such a fever temperature like that, they rarely come to pass. Think about it. Y2K, nothing happened. Coney 2012, nothing happened. Hell, the year 2012, we were all supposed to like melt or some shit like that. Nothing happened. Planet X, nothing happened. Right? And this is all the same deal. Like, oh, we've got this secret information. We've got people, insiders, and they're, no, nothing happened. It's just sensationalism. So that's why I personally don't think XRP is going to $400 a coin. I don't think it's going to $1,000 a coin. I think at its tops, you may see like a $3 XRP. Cool. Maybe a $6 XRP. Maybe. And I'm not, oh, let's go get a thumbnail and Crypto Glenn says XRP is going up to $6. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I will say this, as long as Jeff McCaleb, is it Jeff McCaleb? John McCaleb? Jim McCaleb? Jim O'Heimer Smith? His name is my name too. No. As long as McCaleb can continue to dump, that's going to put a ton of downside pressure on the market. What they may have been better off doing is just allowing him to dump everything that he wanted to dump when he wanted to dump it. Just rip the Band-Aid off instead of this slow bleed out. Right? But they didn't. They said you can only sell so much, and as the years go on, he's going to be able to dump more and more and more on the market each month. So that's what I'm saying. This could be a very lengthy process. I think a lot of people need to adjust their expectations and adjust what it is that they're looking to get out of this and be a little bit more realistic. Excuse me. Like this stuff right here. This is what I'm talking about. Matrix, Red Pill, past presidents, you will soon find out the truth. Take the Red Pill, America. Like, all right, yeah, we get it. You know, the American economy is not legitimately as strong as it is. You've got to cut rates. You've cut rates 3 times in 1 year. The majority of the world is going through negative interest rates. Well, not the majority, but you have some areas in the world that are going through negative interest rates. I think Japan's one of them. Germany's another one. Hell, Argentina may even be one. So, yes, suffice it to what most people would say, suffice it to what you may read in your news, whether it be local or, global. The world economy is not doing as well as they want people to believe. So And listen, if you wake up tomorrow and everything is going to absolute crap, and XRP is the new top dog, you got to ask yourself, how bad have things gotten? Like, if that comes to the point, if that comes to fruition, then listen, a lot of people aren't going to make it. A lot of people, if that's the case, a lot of people have starved. A lot of people have probably passed away. A lot of people, just a lot of bad things have happened. America goes to war when a country tries to get itself off of the dollar. So you'll listen to your favorite YouTuber, and listen, I've seen these guys and I've talked to them. I've listened to I haven't talked to them, but I've seen the videos and I've listened to them. You expect me to believe that the dollar's just going to go bye-bye. I cannot see that happening. And I'm not saying because I can't see it happening, it's not going to happen. What I'm saying is when a country tries to leave or not use the dollar as a world's reserve currency, bullets start flying. When America's interest is at jeopardy, tanks show up. I'm just saying. So I get it. Everybody's got a bag of XRP. Some bags are larger than others, and this is. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And yeah, you have seen a lot of backlash from some people's community, asking them to be more objective in their reporting. If you listen to Alex Cobb has gotten a lot more defensive in his tone on his videos because people aren't buying, they're not drinking the Kool-Aid. They're not buying in so easily. Volume reaches things like this, they don't move me. Volume reaches an all-time high, but literally the price is in the toilet. I said XRP needs to get a major partner from a legacy market, and maybe a handful of them. Just the way I see it. This is kind of fun, guys. I think I'm going to cut it here. I'll probably jump back on a little bit later. Maybe cut a static video in terms of going over some technical analysis of where I think XRP may go, where the rest of the crypto market may go. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. I'd love to connect with you guys and talk to you there. We just crossed over 100 followers. I want to appreciate and say thank you to each 102 followers that I have on there. I want to say thank you to each of the subscribers that I have on here. If you're not subscribed on the channel here on YouTube, Crypto Glim, same as it is on Twitter, definitely do so. We'd love to have you. Love to hang out with you and hear your 2 cents. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Maybe I'm way off the mark on this. Maybe your sentiments resemble mine. Either way, follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Slap the like button. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. And next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.